race between Frank Mir and Shane Carwin for the interim heavyweight championship is on. UFC 111, St. Pierre versus Hardy, live Saturday, March 27th from Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. Only on pay-per-view.
Woogle for Google. That's what they're calling it. Brendan Milliken here to tell us all about it. And let's just start with the name. Woo, of course. We've got Woogle. Google, people have heard of it as well. Woo for Worcester. What is Woogle for Google?
Well, I can't take credit for the name. We're going to have to hand that one over to the fine marketing department for the city of Worcester. But Woogling for Google is, Google has announced back at the beginning of February a Fiber for Communities project that Worcester wants to be a part of. What Google wants to do is take all of this dark fiber that was laid in the late 90s, early part of the last century, later part of the last century, throughout cities like Worcester, throughout the state, and they want to light it up by creating with the goal of creating a next generation fiber network.
So it's there, but it's just kind of dormant right now.
When the money was there before the internet bubble burst, companies and states were laying vast amounts of fiber. We've got, if I'm not mistaken, 2 fiber rings here in Worcester that are in the downtown area.
I actually
use a little bit. The city uses them to connect some of their services and what have you. And there's also fiber that runs the length of the Mass Pike. So we've kind of got this next generation infrastructure that's partially in place. Nobody's actually tied it all together. Google wants to come into a city around the size of Worcester and do just that. Tie together these existing fiber structures, these conduits to the proverbial last mile systems, actually running fiber directly to people's homes, which are in businesses, hospitals,
it's interesting because now that you mention this, going back 10 years, I do remember City Councilor Joe Petty talking about this. John Carnegie, I know, used to go to the City Council and would talk about this, and they were talking about these 2 sort of rings and how well Worcester was positioned. And at the time, I think that it was supposed to bring a lot of businesses in. I think they were really talking about the Denholm building and some of the other buildings as just being, like ready because you wouldn't have to lay all of this. But then, as with so many things, see, you've kind of jogged my memory, but it's like, oh yeah. So what's happened with it over the last 10 years?
It's really just sat dormant, and the city has made a little bit of use for it. What's happening now, and it's really just interesting timing, the FCC has put together this national broadband plan. It's going to be presented to Congress this week. And this will be the first time that the FCC has laid out a roadmap for the future of telecommunications infrastructure in the United States. And this is part of the Reinvestment in America Act of 2009. What Google is doing, and what Worcester hopes to be a part of via Google, is Google is putting their own money on the table and trying to hope that they show to Congress that the private sector is actually quite interested in getting ahead of the game here. They want to be actively involved in laying that last mile of fiber.
But the city has to show, the people of the city have to show. So when you said earlier that cities the size of a Worcester, so we're literally sort of in competition with cities all around the United States.
All around the United States. What Google did back on February 11th was put out, it's basically a reverse RFP. They said, we want the cities to prove to us that we should come to you and spend the money to boost up your infrastructure. So cities throughout the nation have done just this. It's half a formal municipal application that here in the city, Mike O'Brien will be filling out. The other component is really a call to arms from the community to try and prove to Google that we want this in our community and that we believe that this is going to be a game changer.
And that's really where you come in.
That's where myself and Scott Zobak from State Senator Harry Chandler's office have been working to try and get the community interested and excited about what this could mean for the future of Worcester. Now, it's easy just to think about blazing fast internet access, and that would be great. But the real game changer is when you think of our existing healthcare institutions, and just think of the ability of a, say a heart surgeon being able to do a real-time consult, like an echocardiogram or what have you, with a colleague on the other side of the planet. Or, I was speaking to some of our local filmmakers the other day, and they were talking about how this would just be game-changing from the way they currently have to do business. By they'll shoot something in Worcester, then they hop on a plane or they hire a courier to send proofs out to LA to do editing. Where if this sort of network existed, they would never have to leave Worcester. Their editing partners could be in LA, they could be anywhere, and just it ties things together in a way that we really haven't thought about our existing network infrastructure up until this point.
But now, so Google's doing this out of the goodness of their heart?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it's definitely going to be for profit. That what they are doing out of the goodness of their heart initially is picking 1 or 2 communities between 50,000 and 500,000 residents, and they're going to they're going to tie up what is build up on top of the existing infrastructure and finish that out. So that is going to be out of the goodness of their heart. They're definitely going to charge for service after that. Right. And it would likely be comparable to what we currently pay for internet access.
Yeah. So how does Worcester then kind of come out on top? How does Worcester win and get their attention?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, if you look at what other communities are doing, it seems to be a lot of gimmicks. Topeka, Kansas, I think, is a great example where they decided to rename, by mayoral proclamation, they renamed Topeka, Kansas, Google, Kansas for the month of March. But it's really just a gimmick. What Worcester is doing is trying to make it clear to Google, using their own tools, that this is something that we think will be important to our future. So what we've set up a Google map, for example, where people can pinpoint via Google Maps where they live, or where their business is, or where their school is, and leave a little note using Google Maps to Google as to why this is a big deal to them. And thus far, around 10,000 people have interacted with that map.
Really, have already done it?
Yeah, just in the last week that we've had it up.
Fantastic.
We have a YouTube channel set up where folks can, create a little video and what have you. Basically, leave a message to Google via YouTube. We have a blog, Worcester.Woogle for Google.
Is that how you're getting the word out mostly? I mean, I saw it on Facebook. Probably had maybe 3 or 4 different social networking things that they came across.
We're kind of looking at this from the approach of Google is an internet company. So, I mean, what better way to make your mark in the eyes of an internet company than via the internet? So I mean, we're taking advantage of existing blogs, Facebook groups and what have you. Again, a lot of Google's own tools like Blogger and YouTube, and just trying to make sure that when it comes time to select the community that Google is going to actually partner with to make this happen, that we can't be ignored, that Worcester will be on the radar.
Now, I saw that even Boston, even though they are too large, is trying to horn in on this. What's with those guys?
Yeah, well, it is a great deal, and I think every community that has any sort of master plan and forward-thinking administration is going to be chasing this down.
Yeah, so we're actually in competition not only with the Topeka, Kansases of the world, but also the Springfields and the Lawrences of Massachusetts
This is a big deal. I mean, and I think Worcester is well situated to be competitive when it comes to who Google is going to choose for this project, with our higher education institutions, the number of public schools that we have, healthcare. We kind of have all the components that it seems would be meaningful outside of just the residential population. But like I said, you'd be crazy if you were an administrator in any community in this country to not chase this down.
To not want to go for it, absolutely. But it does seem as if what you're talking about that I think is fascinating is that it doesn't, you said the city manager has a component that he has to do, but this really seems to be much more grassroots, that this really is coming from the people, and I'm hoping that that's going to grab their attention as well. And
I tell you, Hank, what little cynicism and apathy there was in me, being a longtime Worcester resident, has been wiped off the map with this project. It's been really astounding seeing how something that will impact people's lives, but it's kind of hard to wrap your head around, right? It's not, because it's not just really fast internet access. There's a business component. There's a component just about every aspect of our community. But people have really latched onto it. They seem to understand that this is something that could make a difference in terms of economic development, growth of our educational institutions, growth in the city's presence on the national map, so to speak. And people really seem to like that idea.